Well, I got myself a new power strip, and I forgot in this cheap county, they never even put a sidewalk here. So I will just have to ride on the dirt, which is more work. But what can you do? And go through the tree obstacle course. Anyway, hopefully I haven't bored you too much with my videos. And I'll be able to make it there without too much problems. But what I was talking about before is how many scammers are out there and how my fear is that the carnivore lifestyle, which I've always considered the ultimate alternative lifestyle, is going to become the next target of the scammers. The people out there with their programs and their great ideas and all the other issues it's not too happy about. But what can we do about it? Well, we can do our part by spreading the real message, by not wasting our time on some of these really popular channels, the ones that have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 subscribers, and trying to fight for the little bit of interest that we get. Unless you personally know these people or you've had contact with them when they were a smaller channel, it might be a good idea to move on to some of the other channels, the new ones with a handful of subscribers, maybe the ones that have a few hundred or even a few thousand, like mine. 3,000, a little more than that. That's a good range. Now there is a rule, and I don't remember who was pushing it, but there is this idea that you can only have personal contact with up to 150 people and kind of know who they are and details. And I believe that's true. I look at a lot of channels, and I have to admit, I forget about some of them. There's people that come and go. So another one of the videos that I want to make is going to be a video about some of these people who started on YouTube and then disappeared. So I think that would make a pretty good subject. But anyway, it's only a matter of time before I get the technology and the will to do it. Now obviously I would spend a lot more time on YouTube, except for one fairly simple thing. YouTube is a hobby for me. It is not a source of income. Never has been. How do they expect you to cross the street? How ridiculous. Oh well. You have to take your life into your hands, I guess. Oh boy. I think, yeah, I'll take my chances. You know, it's kind of nice that some people do actually wait for the bicyclist, which is a good thing. Not all the drivers in Miami are bad. And I think most drivers are actually good, but because of the way that they've crammed everybody in here and forced them to have to sit in traffic for hours to go to a job that barely pays enough to survive, is one of the reasons why people do get a little upset. But enough of that. That's all just theory. My main point is this. When I find a YouTube channel, I'm generally one of the first ones to find a YouTube channel when it's just starting out. You see in the carnivore space, one of the most popular channels for interviewing, I was the first interview. And I've been the first interview for a few of these channels. And I try to keep some type of a relationship going with certain channels. And there's some good ones out there. Even some of the channels that have multiple 100,000 subscribers. There's some pretty good channels there. So I'm not saying that you have to dump a channel simply because they have too many subscribers. But what I am saying, when you get to the point where you have so many subscribers that all you're concentrating on is getting more or keeping your marketing going or something like that, that may be the time when it's just, you need to just get away from it. But anyway, that's just a little thought from me. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just a guy who likes ducks, who eats meat, and tries to make the best of what he has. And my goal, as always, is to encourage people any way I can, to get to know people. Hopefully this year, I'll get to meet more people in person. I got to meet one of my YouTubers last year in November. That was the first one in 17 years. Maybe I can meet two this year. Now, what I am trying to do, they're supposed to have some kind of low-carb keto conference in Tampa. I believe it's November, and I think it's called Hack Your Health. I'm hoping by then I'll have my truck fixed. I'll be mobile. But I'm debating whether or not to go. The idea of having to spend all that money to go there and meet people when I could spend the money on something else, fixing my house or fixing my truck or something that I can use permanently, it's a bit of a tough decision. But then again, I really do want to meet other people. That's kind of my goal. That was the reason why I started on YouTube back in 2007. I just wanted to meet people. And I haven't really succeeded at that. Of course, it didn't help that I didn't make any YouTube videos from 2010 to like 2020 or 2021. I think 2021 was finally the year that I did it, because in 2020, I was still taking care of my mom, and then we had the whole virus scare, and that kind of forced me to go online more. And I started to watch different videos and get to know different people. I got to the point where I just couldn't keep silent anymore. I had to say something. It was just starting to really get to me. And I think I may have gone overboard. I have appeared on every channel where I was invited. I tried to get to know different people. That was sort of my goal. And it's worked out really well, I have to admit. That's been the best benefit, because YouTube is not a source of income, that's for sure. I'm still waiting for that first penny or dollar or whatever I get paid from YouTube. Who knows? I might get it this year. I have no idea. But even if I never get a cent, I think the most valuable thing that I've received is the knowledge that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's living on meat and water. I mean, look at me, cycling all over the place. Where's the carbohydrates? I'm not eating any. I don't have scurvy. I don't take vitamin C. How can this be? And I used to think that I was the exception to all the rules. There was Rick and everybody else. But it looks like that's not the case. It looks like actually my lifestyle could help a lot of people. So I'm not going to deny them that knowledge, whatever knowledge I can share. And I figured even if the popular people on YouTube didn't want to talk to me, at least I would have videos out there so that when someone did a little research, they would see my video and it might be inspirational. Now, to this day, I have not met anyone that I didn't already know that has seen my YouTube videos. In fact, most of my friends have never seen any of my YouTube videos. And I've been in, I don't even know how many interviews I've been in. I never really counted it. But I do have a record, and I think what I'm going to do one day, I'll make a video that gives links to all the different interviews I've been in. Some of them have already been deleted. And some of the YouTubers that interviewed me are no longer active. So, I don't know. And it can be a little bit discouraging, because when I was talking to my one friend who's a vegan, she says, well, you've been out there doing all those interviews and getting to know people. What has it done for you? Well, I've got to meet people online. and it's given me more knowledge and actually more determination to do what I've been doing. But when it comes right down to it, she's actually kind of right. It hasn't really done anything outstanding for me. If I never would have done it, what difference would it make? I didn't really see anybody out there that said that I changed their life. Now you have other people in the carnivore space that they talk about. Obviously you got Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee and Baker. Then you have people like our other Floridian, Dante Ferrigno, that a lot of people talk about. And the reason they can say that is because these people, they started off in a position of just being unhealthy. And then what they had to do, they had to use a carnivore lifestyle to get better. Now with that being said, in my case, I can't do that. I don't have the before and after pictures. I don't have pictures of me being sick and obese. I don't have a box of medicines that people can actually refer to. I have none of those things. All I have is a lifetime of eating my heart attack diet. That's it. Nothing else. And with that being said, it's good in one way, but not so much in another. Well, I'm going to leave that to you. Whatever you might think, there's a possibility that maybe I'm just being too hard on myself. Or maybe I am having more of an effect. You need to tell me that. Because the way I see it, this is just a hobby for me. I do this in my free time. This is one of the reasons I haven't gone out of my way to find or build a wonderful computer for editing. I can sit down there and do the research and gather all the clips and spend 8 hours to make a 20 or 30 minute video to put out there and have people watch it. But of course, when they do watch it, what is it actually going to do? Probably a lot of nothing. Now, I'm not being negative about it. I'm just being realistic. So again, if you disagree, now I did get a lot of good comments on one video I made. I was talking about this frustration. By the way, look at this traffic. It's still backed up. And this is one of the last nurseries left. This whole neighborhood used to look like this. This is it. And how much longer before the next thing you see is a bunch of shade cloth hanging on the fence and a bunch of equipment clearing the land to build 50 to 100 little houses? Probably not much longer. I mean, I give them credit for having a nursery this long, but it never lasts. When I was younger, these were hay fields. One of the first jobs I had, besides working at the nursery, we had a friend of the family that had a farm. And they rented land over here and they cut hay for horses. Cattle generally were not fed hay because we don't really have a winter. So the grass kind of grows year round. They may have had supplemental hay, but that's it. But, now just one big development. Now, this was built in the 80s and 90s, so the homes are bigger. But the newer ones are crammed in tighter and tighter. So, anyway, enough of the rambling. I'm going to continue on. My neighborhood is just to the left. And hopefully, I'll be able to get back without being run over. I actually do pretty well because I stay off the street. I go on the sidewalk. I take shortcuts whenever I can. And I seem to do okay. And by the way, when I do get home, I'll check the time because I did set up the old phone that I use for recording with an app that tracks by GPS. It's not connected to the internet, or at least until I get to Wi-Fi. But it'll tell me how long I rode, how far I went, and so on. And actually, I may have spent another 10, 15 minutes max. But with this kind of traffic, I may have gotten here even sooner. That's the funny thing. So it's not like I'm wasting my time. I would be wasting my time sitting in traffic like that. That is just unacceptable. Looks like they're putting in utilities. Nobody really stops for the bike path, so I ride on the sidewalk. It's a little bit safer. Well, that's that. And the nurseries are still in my neighborhood. But before I go to my home, I just wanted to say goodbye, and I'll catch you later.